Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makudiri. The time is 28 minutes past 9 Central African time. And we're going to be switching gears now to a very interesting conversation. I love art, and art continues to become a very, very powerful form of resistance and of remembrance. There's a really wonderful stage play production that is bringing the human story of Palestinian children to life. I think we all know at this point what's the current reality of the people of Palestine, the genocide that has been unfolding in the last couple of years, and the continued occupation and oppression of the Palestinian people. And Palestine, My Palestine, a child's journey through occupation and grief explores loss, it explores identity, resilience, and hope amid the realities of occupation. The production blends powerful storytelling with deeply emotional performances that have already moved audiences to standing ovations. And our COO, Pontimulezane, was at one of the performances, and he had a raving review for someone that's joining us on stage. I mean, in studio today on stage, like Seedat, who made her stage acting debut in the production, that ultimately finds herself joining us today to chat all about Palestine, My Palestine. Laa'iqah, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to News and Views. And I should mention that we're going to be joined later on by Vivian Moodley, who's also a writer and also a veteran stage, radio, and film kind of, enthusiast and all-rounder. And I was still trying to get hold of him, but we're going to continue our conversation with Laa'iqah. Laa'iqah, welcome. Really excited to be chatting to you, and hope to get more insight on what all of this came to be. Palestine, My Palestine.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, the pleasure is all ours. And I was just looking through your profile after my producer Nisrin sent it to me, and one thing that really stood out for me is the fact that you studied science. What exactly did you study? And then ultimately now being involved in the arts, what did that come about? Because it's totally different worlds, the world of creativity and the world of maths and science.
Yes, so basically, I grew up in the arts. I have parents who were always involved in the arts, on stage, TV, film, all of it. So I basically grew up in the theater. I was always at their rehearsals. I was always backstage. I was always watching their performances. So I suppose through that, it really did become something that I loved and always wanted to be involved in. But at the same time, I always did pretty well at school, and I really enjoyed science, biology, that whole thing. So when the time came for me to into tertiary education, that was what I decided to pursue. And so I've just been really lucky that I was able to kind of pursue and experience both of those facets, both of those things that I really just love.
And how important is it, for maybe parents that are listening, to not maybe have their children just choose one path? You can literally do it all. You can have the maths and science, which is very, very important, but also explore the creative side of life. How important is it, and what edge do you think it gives one person?
I think if possible, it's always great to be able to kind of explore all of your interests if you can. I mean, it's not always possible for everybody, but I think also it's so important to have that bit of a balance, because for me, the maths and the science, as much as I love it, it's not easy. It can be quite difficult. It takes up a lot of your time, but also to have another thing that you really love to kind of come back to give you that little bit of joy and inner satisfaction. I think that's really important.
Yeah, most definitely. You're the star of the show, Palestine, My Palestine, but there's someone who's in the background that I'd like to have join us. Vivian Moodley, veteran stage, radio, film, and TV actor. Very, very involved in this production. Vivian, thank you so much for joining us. Also, welcome to News and Views. Really excited to be chatting to you. Vivian, are you there? Can you hear me? All right, we lost Vivian there for a moment. I want to continue with you. From your perspective, Palestine, my Palestine, what's all about? Like, just give us insight on this stage play that has everyone, giving standing ovations online. People are talking about it. What's all about?
So basically, Palestine, My Palestine attempts to tell the story of, I suppose, a lot of children in the Palestine Gaza area at the moment and in the past, and not only in Palestine, but many war torn countries.
Mm,
So it basically attempts to give give you a view of the experiences of the children or just the people suffering through that, but through the eyes of a child. So you meet this child as a grown adult who has now come to South Africa and has lived a lot of her life here after her family and has just been decimated in
mm,
Palestine. So you get to see what that destruction is like and those emotions from the eyes of a child now telling the story as a grown up woman. And I think really for me, it was so important to get that story across. As much as it's a fictionalized version,
mm.
that really is the lived experience of so many people in Palestine.
I think what's interesting for me is the fact that this was your debut as a stage actor, and having to now play a role that's so emotionally demanding. How do you even go about it? Because the story of Palestine, there's a lot of people that I know about that can't even talk about it without shedding a tear. It's so heart wrenching,
Mm.
and you on your first debut, that's the role that you're playing.
Yeah.
How demanding was it, and how did you go about it?
It was not the easiest thing for me personally. I mean, I don't know how anyone else would have handled it,
Yeah.
but for me, I tend to be quite an emotional person, and I try not to always display that to everybody. So it was difficult for me to display that kind of vulnerability so openly. But really, what I had to do was draw on. I mean, I haven't been there,
Mm,
but I had to draw on what I see in the news, in all the articles, on social media, all over. I think we all are seeing this every day.
sure.
So it just for me was trying to put myself in that position mentally. And I'm fortunate enough not to have experienced it, but just to try and think to myself, what would this be like? Or more so, how would I feel if this was happening to the people I loved?
Mm,
Like the character in the play, she loses a lot of her loved ones through this whole journey. And for me, it was like, if I had to lose that person in my life, how would that feel? How would I actually portray that? So it was hard. There were days when I actually had to say to the director, you know what, I need to take a break today
mm,
because it's hard putting yourself in that mental state day after day. And yeah, it can be quite mentally draining.
mm,
So yeah, it it was quite difficult at the beginning, and I think at a certain point you do have to kind of disconnect yourself from it emotionally.
mm,
But at the same time, it's all of those emotions that help you to portray it in a way that's realistic.
mm, mm,
So it's really about a balance of feeling those things and also staying somewhat disconnected from it.
mm, Now that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. And as you know, a young South African, knowing the history that our country has, and just how passionate, South Africa, whether it's the government or it's the people, the passion and the support for Palestine that we've portrayed over the years, heads and shoulders above everyone else, and how Palestinians also view South Africans. Did you feel that extra bit sense of responsibility, playing this character in this role in this kind of stage play, considering everything around it?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we all know, South Africa as a country, we are, for the most part, very supportive of the Palestinian cause.
Mm,
And I mean, it's obvious that I'm a supporter of the cause,
yeah.
but at the same time, you really just feel that you need to portray this so realistically. You don't want to give off the wrong impressions. It can be quite a balancing act, but it's really, for me, it was just about, this is a cause and it's close to my heart. It's close to so many people's hearts, and I just need to. This is my way to be able to bring attention to it.
Mm, mm.
So.
And living at a time where, you know, the reality is in South Africa, not everyone, as much as the vast majority of people are pro-Palestinian, we know and understand the parallels between our country and what's currently happening in Palestine. It's not everyone that's in support of the cause, and we've seen a lot of artists specifically, you know, losing work, you know, being blacklisted because of how vocal they are. Did that ever, you know, be a factor? You know, did it, you know, do you care whether or not you'd be blacklisted, cancelled, job opportunities at any point?
To an extent, I suppose, but at the same time, what's more important, right? I think that even if I wasn't so involved in pro-Palestinian production, I would not hide the fact that I was pro-Palestinian. So, yeah, I mean, it can be a bit daunting to be so open about it. But I mean, at the same time, I feel like most of the world is taking a stance one way or the other. So it just is what it is.
Most definitely. Take us through, you know, opening night when, you know, there was months and months of preparation and you know, trying to prepare yourself psychologically, emotionally, and then the day comes where you have to step on stage and you now have to perform this beautiful work of art. How was opening night for you?
Oh, it was a bit nerve-wracking. I can't deny that. But you know, at the same time, and it sounds easier said than done, but it really is true. And I think it's something that a lot of artists say is that you go through all of these months of preparation, and when you get there will always be nerves. But what it comes down to is you knowing that I can do this. I have done this. I've spent all of this time preparing to do it. And so I know I'm capable, and I have to just go out there and do it. And I think that's what I was telling myself when I was waiting in the wings and waiting to get up there. It was just, you've spent all of this time preparing, and now what happens, happens. But you just go out there and do your best. And yeah, so when the first time I stepped out, it was I definitely had some nerves. My legs were a little bit shaky, but as it goes on and you get into it, it really just you become this character and you are telling the story. And yeah, the nerves kind of fade away a little bit.
And this is a solo production, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
How much more demanding is it knowing that that's just you on stage, and you know you can't lean on, you know, other actors and other performers? It's just you. You have to you know, internalize it and then give it to the audience by yourself, all that energy, taking it in and out. I'm sure it must be a lot, especially for a character that is also so demanding emotionally and psychologically.
Oh no, definitely. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I have to say, this play has been years in the making, and for many years I was saying to Vivian, I can't do this. I know you really want me to do it, but I have not been on stage before. I don't know if I'm capable of it. I was very afraid to be the only person on the stage. I even said, you know, put me in something else first. I would love to be on stage, but can I start off with a cast with you know, fellow actors, a team to kind of fall back on? That was really, really daunting for me in the beginning. But you know what, to be honest, you have to learn to trust yourself. You know that you are the one who's going to make it or break it. And at the same time, there is a whole team behind the scenes. It's not just me. There's a whole team of people supporting me, doing their part to bring the production together. So when you look at it like that, you realize I'm really not alone. I'm just the face. Yeah, and you know, it comes together.
Yeah, no, most definitely. We're joined now by veteran stage, radio, film, and television actor, also writer, director, and producer Vivian Moodley, who's joining us via telephone. He's the man, the brains behind this production. Vivian, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to News and Views. Really excited to be chatting to you.
Thank you. Excited to be chatting to you. It's just that I've been foiled by technology and I didn't quite catch your name.
Salailo here.
Solano.
Yes. We're just chatting with Laa'iqah about, this wonderful, production that you are the brains behind, Palestine, My Palestine. Just from your perspective, if you can give us background on the inspiration behind it and why was it so important to tell the story for the South African audience in particular?
Oh, well, South Africa and Palestine, our history is very much kind of intertwined and very similar. And they were one of the countries that stood by us during the struggle for freedom in this country. And I think that goes part of it. But the mere fact that children are being butchered, women are being butchered by horrific things that are happening and the genocide, it's very, very difficult as a human being to sit back silently and say, shame, this is happening. We've got to do something. And being a writer and having produced a little work of, I'd like to call social relevance, I said, no, I've got to write about this. I've got to do something about this. And then I decided, no, let me tell a story. Because have we ever heard a child speak about her trauma, losing her parents, her siblings, a whole village that she comes from being destroyed? Have we ever heard that voice? No. I said, okay, now I'm going to put that voice on to highlight the psychological aspects of it and so on, and hope to win the hearts and minds of people who are sitting on the fence, who may not know what it is or want to turn away, and get them there and say, right, come on, guys, face this thing. Let us do something, and there's a lot we can do. And that's where it started.
Very, very important. And, South Africa is very, very well known worldwide on some of, very impactful historical theater plays. When you think of the likes of Woza Albert and Sinzwe Banzi is Dead and, all of these, masterpieces. Did you draw any inspiration from them as a South African creative, especially in the theater space, to tell a story in a way that the South African audience can appreciate and accept, knowing the history that we have, as you mentioned, and also how we just have this ability as South Africans to bring very, very conversational, societal, political themes into art.
Yes, exactly. And I was fascinated by the Walter Albert. And there was one I saw when I was in my early teens called The Train. And this play was actually produced in a pub that we used to frequent in the old days. And I watched this thing and I was in awe of these two guys. They were absolutely incredible as to the way they told their stories, or sitting at a train station waiting for a train to come by, and the abuse they were getting from the so-called white passengers that were going past, and stuff like that. And I think that stayed with me for a long time. And I knew somewhere in the back of my mind that was something I was going to do. And they inspired me to such a degree, and I think we would not have the strength of the arts that we have now without productions like that. Yeah.
No, very, very important. I want to come back to, you working with Laa'iqah, young actress making her stage debut on a very, very demanding character, a very, very demanding story. How was that like, having to hold her hand? This is a solo production. It's a lot of work. How was that process like, working with her and trying to, take her through it as demanding as it was, as this story is actually?
Scary to say the least. I'm sitting there in the so-called director's chair and waiting for the tantrums and that kind of thing. But
did she throw any tantrums?
No, but she directed me as to how to direct her. No, but it was fantastic. She's got such a mature outlook and demeanor and so on, and she is a very, very intelligent young lady, and she knows, I think the limits and what to do, and understood it. And it was quite easy because we did script analysis, discussed everything in the movie, emotions and so on, and she just lapped it all up and then gave it to us on the stage. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. She is, even though it's a debut, she was so accomplished as an actor.
And for you, like working with Vivian, a veteran, in the industry, how was that like? Did it bring an extra sense of comfort?
Yes, I think it really did, because my entire life, everybody's been saying what a talent he is and what an asset he is to the industry. And I've watched him so many times on stage and film, heard him on radio. So, when someone that accomplished is there supporting you, the chances of you doing well are really high. So that was definitely a comfort to me.
No, most definitely. Vivian, I want to come back to you because as you mentioned, this was a very, very important play. It comes at a time where not a lot of South Africans share the same sentiment on Palestine. It's very, very polarizing, especially in the arts. Why was it so, important to take on this task? And also, were you ever, nervous on whether or not how it will be received? Because as you mentioned, it's very, very polarizing. Not a lot of people agree. And you can lose funding, you can lose work. I asked Laa'iqah a similar kind of question when you touch on Palestine, because we all know at the end of the day, all the means of production are concentrated in this country. Or was that a factor for you at any point?
Yeah, I did have an issue a while back. I was asked to direct a piece on Palestine called The Sands of Palestine, which was written by Yusuf Hataji. And I directed that. And then I got a call. I don't know where it was from, but the person claimed to be from the Jewish Board of Deputies and threatened me about it. And I said, bring it on. So I think it was, you get these people who say I'm from this organization. So I can't prove that. But I said, just bring it on. So people always said to me, those close to me, friends, family, fellow artists, to say, this morning I got a message to say, you're a very brave man to put this on and take on the kind of system, And I said, well, look, I'm not going to sit back. Silence is not an option.
True.
I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak it out no matter what the social issue is. But in this case, if children are dying like that, it is impossible for me to look away. And if my life is in danger, so what? I'm waiting for my chance to get on the flotilla and go and do whatever else I can. I'm making myself available for that as well. So yeah, if you want to, somebody who's prepared to kill children, then my life really, I don't mind. Go for it.
No, most definitely. And I suppose our country wouldn't be here if people remain silent because they feared for their lives or for their livelihoods. I want to wrap up this conversation. Vivian, thank you so much for chatting to us. But I want to wrap it up by putting Laa'iqah here on the spot. Can you give us a little taste of what audiences can expect? Just something small.
Am I allowed to do that? Director?
Sorry, you can go for it.
Oh, okay.
As long as you don't do any advertising.
As long as I don't do what?
Any advertising.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, what do you think I should perform for them?
Anything you feel comfortable. Maybe sing a bow or two from the song. Where have all the flowers gone? Because
okay, we'll give you a verse of a song from the play. Okay.
But you'll have to give things before that for context.
So we all know by this point what the play is about. Really, it's it's almost as if all of the color and all of the joy has left Palestine,
Mm.
especially when you look at it from the eyes of a child who's lost everything in that situation. And so this is one of the songs that we use in the production to kind of bring that message home.
Mm.
Okay. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing, where have all the flowers gone from Palestine? Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls, pick them, everyone. When will Israel learn? When will they ever learn?
Wow. Goosebumps. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, for chatting to us. Hey, where's the play going to screen again? Can people get details, people that want to be a part of it?
So at the moment, there are no more confirmed dates, but we are in discussions.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be, I will let you guys know, and I'm sure it will be on our production company, social media, and so on.
And where can people follow? For more details?
At Turmeric Junction on Instagram. That's Junction with an X rather than a CT.
There you have it.
Okay.
Laa'iqah, Seedat, and Vivian Moodley. I think wonderful play. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We're going to be wrapping up this conversation, and hopefully I'll be there in one of the plays. It's you singing. I think just do it for me.
Thank you for having us, Salalo.
Pleasure's all ours. Going to take a quick break. News and views will be back after this.